For Veldora, the day could not have gone much worse. It was an empty field of grass. The city, well prepared for the Imperial invasion, remained isolated in the labyrinth, and that was why the beauty flying in from the sky above stood out so much against this backdrop. "Ah, my sister," Veldora muttered despite himself. There was no strength in his voice. For those who knew how Veldora normally carried on, the sight was unthinkable. Is it possible?" stammered Cherries, "that this is Lady Velgrynd, the sister I have heard rumor of?" "And indeed, you are correct. She is Velgrynd the Flame Dragon, one of the all-powerful true dragons, and my sister, yes." Everyone in the control center, upon hearing this, leaped into action at once. An emergency alarm rang across the labyrinth, advising all within earshot to exercise maximum vigilance against the enemy on the outside. "Whoa, Master. Rimuru's not even here. What are we gonna do?" Ramrus is panicking, and while she's useless in combat, she's lucky her capable staff is managing the labyrinth. Unfortunately, most of her strongest guardians are currently in evolutionary sleep, leaving Beretta as her only real protection. It wouldn't appear that she's going to be too friendly with us. Let's intercept her in the labyrinth. Beretta kept an eye on the situation, as Trainee and the others checked on the situation labyrinth-wide. With our top forces deployed, we're underprepared, but Beretta and Veldora are banking on the labyrinth's defenses to hold off Velgrynd. I don't know what she's here for, but if she came alone, she truly deserves nothing but my laughter. With all of us together, we have nothing to fear. Quai ha ha ha. He grinned assuredly, but his expression was noticeably strained. He was scared. After fighting Velzard, Veldora is now facing his other sister, Velgrynd, invading Tempest alone. He's panicked and desperate to escape. That's why he was so eager to jump at Beretta's proposal. But just then, "Veldora, be a good boy and come out for me, alright?" Velgrynd, right up there on the display, addressed him out loud. Even her eyes, oddly enough, were fixated on the screen, boring right into Veldora, and her voice echoed directly into his mind. "Sir Veldora. Do not flinch at this, Cherries. This is a trap. If I go out there without a thought in the world, it's bound to be awful for me." Yes. Veldora had no qualms about sounding this pathetic. Cherries couldn't help but find it bewildering. Well, if her target is my master, then it's got nothing to do with us. Ramrus, trying to save her own hide and doing a commendable job at it, was immediately silenced by Veldora's hand. Now, whether she wanted to be or not, she was part of this. So the labyrinth staff decided to hold their ground, but... "Oh, you're not coming out. You always were a little slow on the uptake, weren't you? But alright. In that case, I'll give you just one gentle warning." The image alone didn't reveal what Velgrynd was saying, but everyone present understood that things were rapidly changing with her. And Veldora, who still had her voice being channeled into his brain, knew full well she was about to do something. But... It's fine. Ramrus's labyrinth is made of incredible stuff that can shut off dimensions. Even I would have difficulty breaking through it, and as long as we remain inside, even my sister won't be able to touch us. He was right. As long as they stayed in the labyrinth, they continued to remain safe from Velgrynd. Maybe she could smash her way down 1 or 2 floors, but Ramrus could restore it quicker than she could destroy it. With Veldora powering everything, keeping Velgrynd safely away should be doable. "Do not panic. With you and I working together, no adversary can." Veldora attempted to calm Ramrus, but he couldn't finish his sentence. On the screen, he had caught sight of Velgrynd producing a pure crimson spear. "Mom Master. That's real bad news up there. I'm not even sure Mazecraft can block that." "You don't need to remind me," Veldora thought. "I know that. All hands, brace for impact." Nobody doubted Veldora's words, each of them assuming a defensive posture. Just a few moments later, a severe shockwave rocked the labyrinth. "Oh, no way." Damage confirmed down to floor 50. The upper levels are all but destroyed. Alpha, Beta, and the rest of the staff were producing a flurry of damage reports. At that moment, the myth of the labyrinth's purported safety was practically destroyed. Then, just as Veldora was panicking over what to do next, he received a thought communication from Rimuru. "Hey, how's it going?" He deeply resented the cheerful voice. "You fool. Now is not the time for casual greetings. Things are, rather hectic in here. My sister is pursuing me. She is outside the labyrinth right now, but at this rate, she is going to storm inside." Veldora waited for an answer. Rimuru. Yes, surely Rimuru could do something about this. Instead, however, came the concerned reply. "You gonna be okay?" Instantly it made Veldora realize the truth. Rimuru was just as strained right now. If he wasn't, he'd be right back here immediately, and since there was no sign of that, it'd be unwise to wait further for him. And maybe that was why Veldora could feel the false hope from before draining away. If he couldn't rely on Rimuru, he had no choice but to go out himself. "I will have to come out for her. That would beat her laying waste to the labyrinth to reach me." Veldora thought he might be able to make it, although this was backed by zero evidence. It was easy to forget at times, but Rimuru had been quite a suitable trainer. If he had been able to withstand that, Veldora thought, surely Velgrynd wouldn't defeat him that easily. Alright. I'll take full responsibility for the fallout, so just do something about Velgrynd for me. Can you manage that? Rimuru took responsibility for the impending destruction, granting Veldora free rein. Eager to satisfy his friend, the storm dragon prepared to unleash the full fruits of his training. Oh ho. Well, in that case, allow me to handle everything for you. Kwahahaha. He turned his attention back toward Velgrynd. The chat with Rimuru did wonders for his stress level. Suddenly he felt supremely calm and serene. I will need to go out myself, he said, sounding fully relaxed. Master. Sir Veldora. Ramrus and Beretta stared at him in shock. Veldora gave them a refreshed sneer, like all his problems were behind him. Kwahahaha. I too have little interest in fighting my sister, but if using the labyrinth to stall for time wouldn't work, we have no other option. But it's alright, cherries. Immortality within the labyrinth only works because it exists in an isolated space. Now that we know it won't work against my sister, the best way to minimize further damage is for me to leave. As long as Rimuru was alive and well, Veldora was de facto immortal. If he wanted to prevent any more sacrifice, Veldora's only choice was to leave. Then let me join you. No, stay here. You become stronger, but it is still nothing comparable to me. Perhaps Sijin is another matter, but anyone else would just be a hindrance. It was harsh, but true. And Veldora was already prepared for what was to come. There was a gallant air to him now, nothing at all like the pathetic fear of a moment ago. Will you be okay, master? No, I wouldn't be okay at all. I don't even want to think of the horrid abuse my sisters put me through. But enough of that. I too have become stronger. Encountering Rimuru has helped me grow. I too am a trainer now, and I've learned just how immature I have been. I am nothing like how I used to be. Ka-ha-ha-ha. Veldora forced out a laugh. He had mentally uplifted himself so much that he was back to his normal tone. So do not worry. Just sit back and watch as I heroically stride into the scene. With that, he left the labyrinth by himself. Now Veldora recalled his battle with Velgrynd. He hadn't seen the older of his two sisters in quite a while, and she seemed far more powerful, her defense much more impermeable than in the past. Veldora is no longer the reckless dragon he once was. His time sealed within me changed him. He finally grasped that raw power is useless without wisdom. While he's always possessed the largest magical store of any true dragon, he finally learned to respect those who fight with intellect and grit, people like Luminous and Hinata. This growth has transformed his combat ability. He's currently facing his sister Velgrynd, a natural enemy whose eternal world skill usually makes his attacks feel like nothing. She is a terrifying force who effortlessly halts kinetic energy and renders his destruction and gales useless. In the past, she would have crushed him without effort. But now, he's actually holding his own. While the gap in their refined control remains vast, Veldora is no longer just a punching bag. He's evolved into a combatant who can finally challenge the absolute peak of the world, proving that even a chaotic storm dragon can learn to master his own immense potential. But despite having that kind of skill, Velgrynd was unexpectedly honest in her praise of Veldora's growth. Yes, it's quite a surprise. You used to only act out like a spoiled child, but now you're using your brain to fight as well, aren't you? At this rate, maybe we don't need to destroy you after all. There was a disturbing word or two in there, but the rest of it was unmistakably praise for Veldora. Considering he felt nothing but fear for her before then, it made him very happy to see. He still couldn't beat her, but regardless. So what about Velgrynd? Well, Velgrynd and Velgrynd were about an even match in ability. To Veldora, they were both big sisters he had problems dealing with, and if he was honest with himself, he didn't really want to fight either of them. But that wasn't an option right now, so he had no choice but to step up. Velgrynd is as formidable as ever. Not even I could unleash an attack reaching across multiple labyrinth floors like that. Perhaps he could just use brute force to twist the dimensional layers enough to destroy 1 or 2 floors. But even if he used up all his magic heals, not even he could smash through multiple floors with a single blow. The ultimate skill must be the key. If I want to hold my own against her, I will need to exercise Faust, Lord of Investigation, to the fullest. He was right. Veldora outclassed Velgrynd in magic heal count, and he hoped that put him in a slightly better position with her than Velgrynd. That hope helped overcome the trauma of having this encounter in the first place. Veldora's past losses to Velgrynd are over. With his new ultimate skill, Faust, he can analyze and counter her, making him fearless against her heat. Now Veldora felt ready to take this mission on. Kwahahahaha. Nobody's doomed me to defeat yet, have they? I needed to test the extent of this power anyway, why not do it against my own sister? With a new determination, Veldora appeared in front of Velgrynd. The siblings stared each other down in midair, both in human form. They were perfectly still in the sky, which was natural for them as true dragons. I'm glad you were intelligent enough to understand the meaning behind my warning. So you've decided to cooperate with me now. Velgrynd looked quite happy to see Veldora. She wouldn't be for long. I refuse, my sister. I am not a tool for you to use as you see fit, and I'd much appreciate it if you'd stop involving me in your sisterly quarrels. Involve? Such a mean word to use. What I'm saying is that if you willingly cooperate with me, I would welcome you as a close friend. Then I could teach you how to use your powers, allowing you to run wild as much as you want, although I'd ask you to let me choose the times and places for you. Kwahahaha. My answer remains no, my sister. I have already fully perfected the use of my powers. And further, I no longer enjoy violence for violence's sake. I have grown, you see. I am a grown dragon. I wouldn't be so brazen if I were you. Perhaps we spoiled you a bit too much. But very well. Let me see, then, just how much you've grown. Negotiation failed, so Velgrynd lunged for a quick knockout, planning to force Veldora into Veldora's control. But Veldora wasn't playing along. He parried her strike and countered with a kick. Her frustration exploded. Her brother was actually holding his own. What? This force? This doesn't feel weakened at all. Velgrynd thought that Veldora had yet to fully recover from 300 years of being sealed away. The Veldora she knew would always throw 100% of his power around, so she assumed his current weaker front was just an after effect of the seal. That back and forth just now made her realize the error of her ways. You've improved a little, haven't you? Now I see that all your bragging is more than just words. My Veldora-style death stance is as invincible as it is undefeatable. And even you, my sister, will realize just how powerless you are before my whoa. Sick of his arrogance, she unleashed a searing flurry of crimson flames, but Veldora surprisingly stood his ground. Ow. Hot. He sounded like a child and was fleeing at full speed from her, but it did not exact serious damage upon him. I've given you a great deal of discipline over the years, but it appears your head is just as immature as it always was. All that talk about being invincible and undefeatable is nothing short of ridiculous. Velgrynd was as furious as a raging inferno, but still she remained calm. Now she saw that Veldora was not only recovered from his prison, but far stronger than she ever expected. This could be tricky. I can't exercise my full force in this form, and I can't deal much damage, either. Veldora will never be able to dominate him when he shows up. Velgrynd sought to dominate Veldora, claiming him as a decisive pawn for Rudder's grand game. Mom, my clothes. The precious outfit granted to me by Rimuru. Now they're all burned because of you, my sister. When Velgrynd ruined Rimuru's precious gift, Veldora's grief turned to fury. This rage finally shattered his ancient fear of his sisters, unshackling his true power for the battle ahead. Sister or not, I will offer you no more mercy. Prepare to face my wrath. With that shout, Veldora released his powers. In his place, a mighty, majestic dragon, jet black in color, revealed himself. Velgrynd snickered at the sight. It was too convenient for her. All that nonsense. You truly are too unintelligent for your own good. It seems you've forgotten some very important facts. You cannot defeat me, and I suppose it's time to teach you that once more. Velgrynd transformed as well, into her beautiful, limber crimson dragon form, and so the epic-making Kaiju battle began.